In this video, I'm going to show you how I made these functional space-saving bedside units. Hey, what's up guys? Yes, it's your main man JB and welcome to my channel, and in particular this video of me making these bedside units. Come on, let's do it. Now the trouble in having such a big bed, this is a super king size bed, is that it doesn't leave us much room on either side for bedside units. We have had bedside units, but they come quite far out and they block the use of these cupboards. We've got this cupboard space behind us here, but it's always awkward, have to move the units. So the idea is to build something that fits in this small space here, but at the same time utilizes what space we've got. So that's why I'm going to make the shelves bigger than the end panels. The end panels will sit within this section here, and then there'll be a couple of shelves in there and actually notched into the side panels and a little bit wider at the front. One down here, one around here, and then a smaller one on top. So let's get on with it. I'm starting off by cutting all the material on the table saw, and that's going to be the two big shelves, the two ends, and also the top shelf. What I'm doing next is notching the shelves, because these are going to sit in a groove in the end panels. I've done all the cutting on the table saw, so I've got my rail which goes on the back to help secure the unit to the wall. I'm going to get two out of this. I've got two end panels, need to chop these down yet. Got another panel here that's going to go along the top, only need a short piece for that, so I'm going to chop that down on the chop saw. And then I've got my two shelves which you've just seen me put these cuts in here, and as I've said already, these are going to slot into these side panels. So I'm going to groove out two grooves about 3 or 4 mil deep, and then these are basically going to sit in there for extra strength and also for this kind of counter lever strength as well, because these are going to be sticking out like so or like so, and I could just glue and screw them, but I think by putting a groove in there it's just going to give it a lot more strength, and it's going to be sitting on the MDF rather than just relying on the screws. So what I'm going to do next is to cut these notches out, and to do that I'm going to use my Japanese flush pull saw. And then on this side, I'm just using this block in order to give me a nice straight start to the cut. I'll leave a link for this saw in the description box down below. Great, that's perfect. They look exactly the same there. So you can start to see that they're actually going to slot in to the side panels like so, but also sticking out slightly at the front, so we're maximizing space, even though the end panels are going to be very close to each other. So what I need to do now is to reference the bottom on these. One of these is for a top shelf, so I'm going to put that one out the way for now. And again, just find a good bottom edge, which I think is that one as well. Okay, so just mark those with a B. And then what I need to do is to find my drawing and just mark where these shelves are going. So the bigger one will be going at the bottom, and then the slightly smaller one somewhere in the middle, and then the very thin one caps the very top. So the bottom of the big one is going at 130, and then the next line is 450. With those marked out, I now need to cut some slots using the chop saw. But before I do that, I need to work out how deep I'm going. Now, the oval width is 262. So I've already cut this, so this cannot change. And I've cut this at 234. So if I make my grooves 4mm deep, 18 minus 4 is 14, 2 14s is 28, and then this measurement here, 234 plus 28 gives me 262. I hope you followed along to that, because I don't think I did. In order to measure the depth of the groove, I'm using my Trend digital depth gauge, and you can find details of this in the description box below. Now I'll check the depth of this in a moment, but what I want to do first is get the width correct. So I don't want to make it too big and it end up being sloppy. Oh, and that fits in there just perfect. Look at that. Now, if I was doing lots of these, I would set some stops up, but because I've only got 4 to do, it hardly seems worth it. What I'm doing here is just chiseling out a little bit of excess where the blade hasn't quite cut it flat. That's really not going to matter. So the important thing here is that that fits in there really nicely, and then we'll just check the depth. There we go, 4.15. I can live with that. There we go, perfect. With these 3 main components all cut and ready, what I can now do is just clamp them together and take them upstairs into the bedroom and just offer them up, make sure they fit and it all works before I glue it and pin it together. So we'll just put this together, and again you got kind of start getting to see how it goes together and how it's going to look. There we go, just squeeze those together like so. We'll square it off like that. Get a couple of clamps on. Right, let's take it to the bedroom. I mean, the unit. We'll take the unit to the bedroom. Okay, so I think I'm going to have to take this bottom clamp off, but the fact that that one's on and there's grooves in here, it seems to be holding it quite well. So it's going to sit right on top of the skirting, and boom, look at that. So you can see how this side panel is quite far in because you've got the leg of the bed but then I've maximised space by bringing the shelf out, and it literally comes to the side of the bed here, and same here. But that will of course now allow me to open the cupboard, and of course on the other side. So brilliant. What I'm doing here is cutting down the end panels, because I hadn't actually cut those down to length yet, and I thought they looked a bit high when I put them in the bedroom, just offered them up. So I've marked those to 800. I've actually clamped them together so the bottom is completely flush, the grooves line up. We'll cut these together, so that will just make things a little bit easier. With the unit all clamped up, I can measure and cut a rail that's going to go under the bottom shelf there, and also under the top shelf there, and these will have holes in them, allowing me to screw it to the wall. So one in there, and then one will go there under the top shelf. I'll drill the back pieces before I fit them, because it will make it a lot easier. I'm also using a chisel to take off the corners of the shelves and the bottom of the end panels. The only thing left to cut is the top, which goes across the two end panels, but I can do that when it's all together. So what we'll do now is start pinning it. So we've got the grooves in it. That will give the shelf strength, stop it from moving like so. I'm going to glue it, and I'm going to brad nail it. I'm using 50mm brads, so that's really going to go quite far into the board while the glue goes off. These back pieces, these will also help to stabilize the unit so it doesn't shift. So once that's glued, it's going to be absolutely perfect. So let's get some glue and start putting it together. I have just cut the top piece, which was exactly the same size as his end panels. I run that through the saw at the same time. So I've just cut that to length, and that is going to fit absolutely perfectly. Once it's had a little bit of a sand as well, that'll be perfect. So we'll get some glue on that. Right, perfect. That's all glued and pinned. So what I'm going to do to give that glue extra chance to go off, I'm going to clamp both the front and the back. And there we go. So we'll leave that for a bit, let that dry. We'll come back, we'll sand it, prime it, give it 2 coats of paint, and then we'll get it up on the wall. Okay, we are now ready to put this other bedside unit up. I did do a second coat on this. So it's had an undercoat, it's had 2 top coats, and I also put that little notch just at the back there for the lamp cable to go through. I did check this, that it fitted before I kind of put it all together and painted it. So that should just about sit in there like that. By the way, if you're looking at the bed and thinking, that's a rather nice bed, there is a video. It's coming up right now and you can go check that out if you want to. But for now, let's mark this up. I can get it drilled and we can get it up. Now I know there's no electrics behind here because you can get to the other side of this and see where all the cables come out. So do always check before you drill into walls. And then one down the bottom here. So in theory, this should just go, this really is only going in one position, which means those screws should just go straight in. Oh yeah. Oh, forgot to put the plug in. We'll drop that down there like that. Nice little notch. There, perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. Fantastic. I'm absolutely loving those. I've got all the space under here and now I can finally get in and out of my cupboard. So that is awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like the units. If you've got any questions or comments, stick those in the comments box down below. And until next time, I'll see you lot on the next video.